surely this is the right spot.
That's right, Grover. This is the fiction section. Fiction means it's a made-up story. Oh, hey, Elmo, I bet we can find your Galactic Gale comic book here.
Greetings, lovely viewers. If you watch this video, get ready to have a little bit of cognitive dissonance. I'm going to show you a brief clipping from the YouTube program Was the Moon Landing This Man Believes It Was on Value Entertainment. For this interview, the channel owner, Patrick Bet David, sits down with Bart Sibrel. Bart Sibrel is an American author and filmmaker who has written, produced, and directed works in support of the belief that the Apollo moon landings between 1969 and 1972 were not legitimate, and also under the auspices of the CIA. Here is a clip of his contention regarding the space program.
You see that? Then we see the iris open up, and we see the real location of the camera being at the back of the spacecraft. You see that? So they just faked being halfway to the moon.
All right, so Sibrel's contention is that overall it's possible for astronauts to fly in low Earth orbit, but due to the radiation belts, which mind you may be an excuse for the other narrative about the way our world actually appears, they are not able to make it all the way to the lunar surface. Recall in a previous video, I had mentioned my opinion about how impressive and authentic looking the ISS is during one of the tours given by Andre Cooper. This is in the context of describing this infamous moment where a clip adhered to the wall seemingly fell to the ground, with Andre reacting and looking down when this occurred, also seemingly supporting the notion that there is typical gravity in this portion of the craft, which, barring the notion of technology so advanced we can't really even imagine it, that can create artificial gravity, would seem to suggest that nothing in relation to the ISS travels are truly legitimate and real. But this is the part where I may surprise you. If you try to reach Bart Sibrel through his website, he may actually reach back in response and start a conversation with you. He linked me to an unlisted video which would post the unedited version of the Apollo 11 mission footage that he used to show this scene with Michael Collins emerging in front of the camera under apparent earthshine. I discovered a demonstration which appeared later on in that recording that seemingly shows a flashlight moving in a zero-G environment for the Apollo 11 spacecraft. Given that this reel of footage was produced in 1969, I definitely have second thoughts concerning this notion of CGI being used to simulate zero-G. Although of course we know with classification, such advanced videographic technologies could be hidden from the public for multiple decades. So I'm just looking at things probabilistically, also thinking in context of footage that was popularized. What I will show you, which I'll upscale in 4K, I do not believe was popularized by NASA with the purpose of convincing the public that the Apollo 11 astronauts were in a zero-G environment. And so explaining that, it would seem unnecessary to go through the expense of simulating gravity alteration as compared to gravity on a terrestrial surface, given that the expense wasn't to be dispersed for this footage to be seen by a wide audience. I'll play the footage. And a very clear difference in quality, given that the original video was already at 1080p, existing as a copy in higher res of a much lower res video.
Carefully, it'll just hold itself right where it is. Roger. As long as it's disturb it will. Apollo 11, Houston, that's a pretty good demonstration. You started off really stable there, Mike. It's, well, the problem is no matter how carefully you let go, you bump it just a tiny little bit, set it in motion, and once in motion, there she goes. Try that again. It looks fairly stable now with slow rotation.
I'll just admit to you that the narration of this scene is very compelling. Could it be by script? Sure, why not? Either being in reality or feigned, it is very convincing to suggest true zero-G. So I really don't know quite how to reconcile that with this clip here. Falling, there's no other explanation for it.
There he goes.
Or this very last video. This is the brass pin light that was used aboard that flight. The simplest explanation is usually the correct one, though I'm bereft of any simple explanations in this case. Till next time, peace.